Hi, and welcome to another lesson of our Codelab. This time what we're going to do is to look at how the sample actually works to understand what we're going to review in our next lessons. Tipo?
Thank you, Tahi. So you should have a folder containing a modules folder if you've installed the application, and we're just going to start this server by running npm start. That will give us a localhost URL, which I'm going to open now.
So wait a second. Just for me to understand, when you called npm start, what it did, it started the server.js.
It ran node server.js, which is configured in the package.json file.
And that runs our signaling server.
Yes.
For this Codelab. Okay.
Yes. And that signaling server will also share or serve the HTTP and JavaScript files, the HTML files.
So now it's waiting for us on localhost 8080, and we can have the browser go and access that page.
Yes, I'm going to do that in incognito mode, so it will ask for permission to access my camera and microphone.
Okay.
So you can see it starts to ask for my permissions to access my camera and microphone, which I'm going to allow. And note that the URL is still localhost 8080. But the first thing you should notice here is that the URL changed. It added a hashtag because the client connects to the signaling server, and the signaling server assigns an ID to the client.
Okay. So now the Node.js got the connection from us. It assigned for us an ID. I guess next step is for you to mute the audio there.
Yes, because we're going to join in a second tab, and then we will get the favorite effect of everyone doing WebRTC, getting echo.
Okay.
So let's open a second tab and move the mouse so we can quickly mute the audio.
Well, I think that you've got a new service instead of using the URL of the first one.
Okay, let's try again. Yes, I managed to mute pretty fast, luckily. And we're in a session now.
Now, all the messages that I see in the terminal there, these are the exchange of signaling messages that we just spew out in our server for the purpose of debugging in this case.
Yes, you typically don't want to do that in the server because it is pretty noisy, even for two connections you have. The long STPs exchanged here, and then the ICE candidates from one to the other, and then the answer and the ICE candidates from the second client to the first client.
Okay. What else can we do with this sample that we have?
For example, we can mute the video.
Okay.
Which only sends black frames in Chrome and Firefox. Firefox is nice. It turns off the camera, actually. So turning off the camera light is difficult to implement in Chrome. We can unmute again. And we can share the screen.
Okay.
We're now doing screen sharing inside screen sharing. Let's share a Chrome tab, like WebRTC internals, which we have open, which switches to the WebRTC internals tab. And you can see we have in WebRTC internals.
Let's finish with the screen sharing first. So you're now screen sharing, right? Okay. Can we see how it looks like on the receiving end?
On the receiving end, it's here.
Okay.
And as you can see, it is mirrored, which you don't want for a screen sharing, actually.
Okay.
So that's one of the advanced lessons we have in this.
Okay.
Let's stop sharing. And another thing you can see is that if I hold up my left hand, it will show up as left on one view and as on the right on the other. So we're mirroring the local view, which is something many people expect the service to do, because if you watch yourself, you're expecting to see it mirrored, but other people don't like that mirror effect.
Yeah, so this is something that we need to add into our code to show the local view mirrored, just because we do it anyway at some point.
Yes. We've already done that in the default version, and we can look at the code later to see where and how that is done.
Okay. And the last thing that I see that we can do is to just hang up this call, right?
Yes, which will just close the remote connection.
Okay, so...
And you can see a bye message here, which tells the other end, you're all alone now.
Okay, so we've taken the sample, we've ran the Node.js server for it, we've opened our local browser in two separate tabs to the almost same URL. The first one allocated the ID, the second one used the same ID, and now we've connected the call, we've shown how to mute the audio and the video, how to share the screen, and how to hang up. Now we can do these things with more tabs, we can do it with other browsers sitting in other locations, but that would require also changes in the code, and we'll get to that in a later lesson. So thank you, and see you in the next lesson.
Thank you.